Let's welcome Nolan Ether. He is the leader of content marketing for Socio.
Hi, everybody.
So, okay, number one, as I said, you look very different than you do in your Zoom calls. But number two, everybody appreciates a well-designed event. I think people's expectations are very high today that the design levels will be professional. So what are the three most important elements of a well-designed event?
So I think the first would probably be just making sure that so when I'm talking about design, obviously there's the visual components of design and everything like that, but really design fundamentally is about making intentional decisions. So I feel like intentionality is probably the first, thinking through, what is your audience expecting when they're coming to your event? Especially an in-person event where they're looking for value, they're looking to learn, they're looking for things that they can take back and implement into their own organization. The other side would be what you're actually looking for out of the event from your audience. So there's probably a million things, but I feel like boiling it down, my background is in content, focusing on the one or two things that you want them to take away, or what the action is that you want them to take coming out of the event. So that's intentionality. Two is designing, I think, for hybrid first. I think at Socio we have kind of put a flag in the ground that the future of events is hybrid. So we wouldn't recommend, creating an event without assuming that it's going to be an in-person event without assuming that it's going to have a hybrid component. So thinking through how are you going to be able to bring those two audiences together. So it's not about just creating an in-person event and then having a virtual side also, or recycling or reusing that content, or having virtual be separate, but how are you actually intentionally bringing those two audiences together? So is there ways in the in-person event that you can see what the virtual event folks are doing? On the virtual side, beyond just seeing the sessions, what can you do on the in-person side and bringing those together? And then the third, which I think you'll hear a lot more about from Socio and WebEx in the future, is continuous engagement. So thinking about events in the broader scope of marketing, broader scope of a customer journey. So obviously events are huge milestones in that journey. You've got much, on the content side, I think that when someone fills out a form for an ebook or something, that's high intent. Well, booking travel and flying across the country and taking 4 days away from your family is definitely high intent. So we should make sure that we're treating those as milestones within the customer journey, but they should be tied into the larger customer journey. And what you're going to see, I think, in the future is ways to more intentionally actually track that and measure the ROI of that full journey and the impact that events have on that journey. So,
wonderful. The users themselves are expecting high production values, and Zoom webinars are starting to feel more old than old school. So how is Socio delivering on the promise of making it feel easy to design and then deliver on that?
Yeah, so Socio can support anything from smaller, events like webinars and things like that, all the way up to huge hundreds of thousands of attendees and multi-session, multi-day. We just, our big coming out party was WebEx 1 just a couple of weeks ago. That event had 6 tracks, dozens of sessions, was in 3 different regions across the world with different languages. It was crazy, and we were able to do that with a combination of live as well as kind of canned and pre-recorded sessions. Not everybody has the ability to do that. So the good thing about Socio and a lot of event platforms like that is you can actually create not as high quality of an AV production as something like bringing people into the studio, but you can create it within the platform, something that feels more like an event that has some interactivity, that feels almost more like a broadcast, and things like that. So even if you don't have the in-house production capabilities, having the platform or platforms like that will help you create something that feels a little bit more substantial.
And how do you support your clients through that process?
Yeah, so we help our clients, obviously, when you sign up for an event and work with us, we help you, but we also have our professional services team So we have a lot of industry veterans. The actual platform was developed originally and founded by event industry veterans. And so how we help, we can help you create all kinds of different types of things. So.
Okay. I think we're ready for the next one. Virtual and hybrid events have the potential to be much more inclusive, but this isn't always the case. We know that. What are you doing to help promote inclusivity?
Okay, so this one I took notes on because I don't want to get it wrong. So give me just 1 second. I wanted to make sure that I didn't give you guys, we've been sitting here having fatigue for virtual events for the last year. The last thing I wanted to do was have you all travel across the country to see me from further away than you would my camera and the same slides that you would have on a virtual event. So inclusivity, it's something, we were just acquired recently by Cisco. That's built into Cisco's culture. It's something that they've focused on for a long time, but they're really helping blaze the trails even more and more now. So they're focused on pay parity, investing in diverse talent, taking a stand for social justice issues. They're a top 3 employer for military veterans. They were scored 100% corporate equality index for LGBTQ. But as far as our platform is concerned, we've really focused a lot on making sure, obviously hybrid events have already opened up the world to audiences that couldn't make the flights or financial limitations, whatever the case. It's already made it more accessible for people to attend events. But we're working on focusing on blind and vision impaired, motor impaired, folks with cognitive disorders, epilepsy, hearing impaired. So a couple of features. This is not my strong suit, so I had to write these down. Multi-language support, over 30 so far, and more to be added. I was just on a call with one of our product leaders, and that was like the top thing that he was talking about, was supporting languages for more global events. Real-time translations, which we're also going to leverage some Cisco technology for. Real-time content adjustments, color and display adjustments, navigation adjustments, screen reader adjustments, and keyboard navigation adjustments are some of the key features I was encouraged to mention when we talk about accessibility.
Well, you did a good job of that.
Thank you. I also wanted to say on the, when we were talking about the industry veterans and things like that, we've focused on, hybrid is new. I mean, hybrid as a format is new. And so a lot of our customers that we've worked with over the last couple of years, luckily, if you've seen any of our G2 ratings or anything like that, we have really high user satisfaction ratings, top in the industry. And we've got a really dedicated, committed group of customers. And they trust us to blaze the trail with them in hybrid events. And so we've actually, in the early 2021, we learned a lot. We stumbled a lot right along with our customers. And we also learned a lot that was then implemented into our product. So we're going to continue to learn, but as much as you can be a hybrid event native, our team is. And so that's some of the value that we also add when you're trying to kind of up your game in production around hybrid events.